Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Adam Eisen Show. We're on to Season 2, Episode 8, as we approach Week 6 of the NFL regular season. Thursday Night Football has passed, and if you all missed it, I want you to go check out my Week 5 NFL recap. I'm going to start doing these every week, so you will get a video from me on Tuesday recapping the past week in the NFL, just quickly, the games, 5 to 10 minutes, everything that you need to know. And then on Friday, I'm going to come and give you all my typical sports takes. But for today, I don't have a crazy long show, but I do want to start in my home state of North Carolina, the Carolina Panthers. They made a lot of news this week. Before Week 6 even kicked off, they chose to go ahead and fire their head coach, Matt Rhule. And this is a move I personally love. I don't think Matt Rhule should have been brought back this season. He wasn't built for the NFL. He was a college guy. I think he's going to do great in college. He could go to somewhere like Nebraska and really make a difference. But for now, Steve Wilkes, who was in Arizona for a year, he wasn't given a proper shot in Arizona as a head coach and was fired after just one season. He's been working as assistant defensive guy, special teams guy, and he is going to be the new interim head coach for the Carolina Panthers. This is now the fourth black head coach in the NFL, and that is a problem on its own, which I will get into. But the Panthers right now, they needed to make a move. The Panthers have a serious ticket problem. Teams are coming in, San Francisco, Philly, those types of teams come in and take over Carolina Stadium. The bottom bowl that is supposed to be all these big investors, supposed to be the season ticket holders, the ones that are giving Panthers money each year, they're selling their tickets to the opposing fans. Carolina, I've seen it in the past. I've seen it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've seen it with the San Diego Chargers before they moved to Los Angeles, and then when they moved to Los Angeles, they were in the 20 to 30,000 seat stadium for a couple of years and still hardly had any fans. And it's why Oakland moved to Vegas. Carolina has developed a serious culture problem inside the organization, outside the organization, with its fans. And David Tepper, the new owner that just came into power a couple of years ago, I don't think he knows what he's doing. He was a hedge fund manager before this. He's big Pittsburgh Steelers fan all of his life and really wanted to get into the NFL, which I understand. But over the next 4 years, he is giving the highest payout to a coach for not coaching for it. The highest unmarked payout. He's paying Matt Rhule $40 million over the next 4 years not to coach for them. He mismanaged Teddy Bridgewater. He's currently paying Teddy Bridgewater $20 million a year. Sam Darnold $18 million, and now they've got Baker's contract. They're paying all these guys, mid-tier guys, so much money because they won't go and shut down complete rebuild through the draft, through free agency, things like that. You have a couple pieces. You have McCaffrey, you have DJ Moore, you got Robbie Anderson. You got trade pieces, you got guys you can keep around. But if you're blowing so much of your cap space each year, $20 million on Bridgewater, $18 on Darnold, then you got Baker's rookie deal, and he was a first overall pick, so his cap hit's still high. And this doesn't only fall down onto David Tepper. This also falls down onto Scott Fitzgerald. Can't really pronounce his last name. It's the GM for the Panthers. He has not set the team up well cap-wise. That is the GM's responsibility. He has to keep the owner in check. There's about half the owners in sports in the NFL who like to make decisions, like to be involved, like to have their voices heard. And the other half trust in their GMs, trust in their head coaches, and know that these guys have been working at this for 40 years, while the owner, he's been working at something else, just like David Tepper. David Tepper's been a hedge fund manager for years. That's what he's good at. Let your GM do what he's good at. Not to mention, currently, the stadium is dated. I know the Panthers Stadium was probably, about 28, 29 years old total. But if you look at their technology, you look at the overall wow factor of the stadium, it simply does not compare to any stadiums. The closest thing you compare to is stadiums like FedEx Field and Chicago Stadium, stuff like that. The Panthers have a bottom 10 stadium in the NFL. Even Jacksonville has a better environment than they do. The Panthers are another franchise that are losing their fan base. Firing Matt Rhule was the absolute right decision. I like giving Steve Wilks a chance here. He's a guy that's loved. Like I said, he didn't get a chance in Arizona. It was not only one season, not a great season, but still only one season. The fourth black head coach now in the NFL. That's been a big conversation swirling for months and years. There's the Rooney Rule in place that basically requires that teams interview one black candidate for head coach or one minority candidate for head coach whenever teams are hiring for head coach. And to only have 4 black head coaches in the NFL, it's kind of ridiculous. It's obvious that there is another problem there. And out of 32 teams, 28 of them, there's got to be a change there. Moving on to the next team, another team in the NFC, I'm going to mine, the Green Bay Packers. They lost this past weekend to fall to 3-2. They lost to the New York Giants in London, the first ever London overseas foreign game for the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Lost to the Giants after going up 20-10 at halftime. Giants got the ball at the beginning of the second half and did not let off the pedal. They scored 17 unanswered points and then gave the Packers a safety in order to run out more clock so Rodgers wouldn't have as much time to throw an eventual unsuccessful Hail Mary that he injured his thumb on. We learned later this week he is going to be ready for game time. He'll be all right there, but he did injure his thumb on that throw. Rodgers, like he says in the past, he's saying, I really feel like we're going to get on our hot streak soon. Things are about to start clicking. We're about to get momentum. Green Bay's offense is going to come to life. And I got to tell y'all this, as a Packers fan, I've been watching them for years. And I've seen Rodgers say it for years. But this is the one year I can't confidently say the offense is going to come to life. We've had a lot of drop balls. The rookies are good. Don't get me wrong. The rookies are surprising a lot of people. Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson. But we have a serious play calling problem with Matt LaFleur. And I've been a guy who's advocated for Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon split snaps, be dual running backs. But if that's going to happen, you have to feed them more. It's a problem with Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and A.J. Dillon. There's those 3 stars in the backfield. And when you're trying to split things between all 3 of them, none of them can get going. None of them get hot. Aaron Jones, I've seen him every game this season get hot in the first quarter, and then Matt LaFleur backs off his carries. It's gotten ridiculous. We need to start hammering the run game. We need to start hammering it with Aaron Jones, not A.J. Dillon. He's faster, more elusive running back overall. A.J. Dillon is perfect for schemes like Chicago. He's great to have around this year, and he will put up multiple 100-yard games. But in order for this offense to click, the offense has to start going to Aaron Jones. 2-3 years ago, Aaron Jones had 19 touchdowns. This year, he has 11 touchdowns. Or last year, he had 11 touchdowns. This year, what are we going to be looking at? We don't know. And with a guy that's been that good in the past, that the Packers made the effort to bring back, they said, we want you, because everybody thought Aaron Jones was going to be gone. And he ends up signing an extension with the Packers this offseason, massive one, and we had to let Devontae Adams go because of it. If the Packers are going to make that bet on Aaron Jones, I don't understand why they're not running the ball more. He's saying it might click soon. I hope it does click soon. The rookies, they're going to need more time. The only way it clicks is you put the ball in Aaron Jones' hands. Go another NFC team. I have to compliment the guy at this point. I'm not even going to talk about the team as a whole. I would love to be able to not even say their name. But Cooper Rush has been playing out of his mind. He has gotten that team I don't want to name to has won 4 straight games for that team. He just beat the Rams last week, and this week, the Cowboys, I'll finally name them, they are playing versus the Eagles, and Cooper Rush is likely to get the start. Jerry Jones, just in the typical Jerry Jones way he refuses to officially get Dak out and say Dak won't be playing this weekend, but there's no reason he should. They need to take their time with Dak, make sure he's all the way back healthy. Cooper Rush has 839 touchdowns, 839 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions so far this season. Dak offers a lot more, but is way riskier. Cooper Rush is the perfect game manager and is currently earning himself quite a nice contract after this season for whatever team out there is without a quarterback, doesn't get one in the draft, and is desperate. With Rush, it is a dumbed-down game plan. It leans on their playmakers, Pollard, Zeke. They're banged. The offensive line, it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still good. Lean on CeeDee Lamb. Lean on those guys. Dak offers more, but it is way riskier. He is just... You can spread out the playbook more with Dak. Cooper Rush, it's so limited. The offense knows everything that's going to happen. They're not surprised by a play. They can't forget a route or forget this. Run the wrong route. Cooper Rush is the answer for this week, at least for the Dallas Cowboys. And I love all the chit-chatter about, is this a QB battle? Is this a QB controversy? Sadly, Dak gets paid way too much money. But watch Dak come back out here after this week versus the Eagles and lose 1, 2, 3 games in a row. That conversation is gonna get loud. Moving on, next topic today, I want to talk a little bit. My boy, I've been harping on the Pittsburgh Steelers to put Kenny Pickett into the game since week 1. Since before week 1, I wanted Kenny Pickett to start. And just to recap, for everybody that doesn't know why I wanted Kenny Pickett to start, I'll tell you. Kenny Pickett, he went to the University of Pittsburgh. Guys like Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, all those boys, they have to sit for 2-3 years in college, and they get 1 year to prove themselves. They get 1 year to make a name. Kenny Pickett got 3 years of starts at the University of Pittsburgh against good competition. He got 3 years of starts, and not to mention, he got drafted by the same hometown team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did not have to move practice facilities, stadiums. They share that with the University of Pittsburgh. He is so comfortable right now. This is the most comfortable rookie quarterback we've ever seen before. And there is no reason to not have him in the game. Mitchell Trubisky, not to hate on him, but he is the best midline quarterback there is. He is an 7-9, 8-8 guy. And Mike Tomlin's whole career at this point has been a 500 career. That's what it's come out to after the last 5 seasons. Kenny Pickett, he may have had a poor first game. Mitchell Trubisky did not set him up for success against the Buffalo Bills. He lost 38-3, but Kenny Pickett, he is now the starter. He's QB1 on the depth chart, what should have happened from day one. This upcoming year is going to be a 5 to 6 quarterback first round draft class. The Pittsburgh Steelers need to know this year who Kenny Pickett is. There's all these conversations about him. He's elusive, he's fast, he did that fake slide that got all over SportsCenter and still gets posted to this day. But he has small hands. He can't do this. He can't do that. There's questions around Pickett. Figure it out this year before you are sitting here having to look at signing Cooper Rush because you weren't prepared to go out and draft a quarterback. Now, there was a big topic that dropped this week. It dropped on ESPN, and the article was like a book. It took me 30 to 45 minutes to read the whole thing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about already, I'm talking about Dan Snyder, the Washington Commanders, and the position that he has put the team in. This team, when Dan Snyder went and bought it, they were ranked number 1 in the NFL in fans and fan attendance and just overall morale and culture. They were rated number 1. The Commanders have since fell to 32nd in the league after being under the ownership of the Snyders for the last 25 to 30 years. Dan Snyder has been accused for a number of things. I'm not going to pull an Al Michaels and go on a 90-second rant listing everything, but from everything from workplace sexual harassment, culture violate, everything like that you don't want in an owner. Dan Snyder has been accused of, has been tried for, and he is still in the league. And then this past week, ESPN drops an article. I do want to mention that the article, it was completely anonymous sources, and that is due to the NFL threatening millions of dollars in fines for any owners or high-end executives who talk to reporters about this current ongoing investigation. But there was a couple of people who came out, couple high-end executives, and including an owner, they all came out anonymously, basically saying that Dan Snyder has dirt on everybody in the league. He's constantly bragging about it. He says, they can't take me down, I'm going to take them all with me. He has dirt on all the owners, people in the executive office, and including Roger Goodell, the article says. And one thing I have to say to that is Roger Goodell especially, I feel like, is a stunt move. Because this is a guy, if you think about Roger Goodell, think of how many private investigators he's had on his life in the last 5 to 10 years. The amount of high-profile people who have came out and said, I dislike that man. Dave Portnoy, for one of them. We know for a fact he put private investigators on him. Everybody's looking to dig up dirt. Everybody's looking to dig up dirt on a guy like that. Dan Snyder, I don't believe, has it. What I do think he has is potential dirt on guys like Jerry Jones, even though Jerry Jones came out the other day. He said that what that article said about him and Dan's relationship deteriorating because Dan Snyder, he was always looked up to Jerry Jones as kind of like a mentor figure, and Jerry taught him coming into the league. But Jerry says him and Dan's friendship is good. But this is a guy, since he came into the league, the first ever league meeting, he came in and he was labeled as cocky, arrogant, selfish. It's all about himself. Look it up. That's what the owners thought of him after the first league meeting. In 2002, the league was voting who would host the Super Bowl in 2008. And the family of the Arizona Cardinals, who owns the Arizona Cardinals, they funded to have a new stadium built by that time. And the whole NFL wanted the Super Bowl to be in Arizona in the brand new stadium that everybody was going to love. Dan Snyder, he was the opposition. He wanted FedEx Field in 2008. That's where he wanted the Super Bowl to be. And when he didn't get his way in the secret ballot vote, he stood up and shouted at everybody, screaming, saying they made the biggest mistake, called out the owners of the Arizona Cardinals, saying they didn't know what they were doing, the stadium wasn't going to be good. Dan Snyder has never been one to make friends, and now all they need at a league meeting on Tuesday is 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. 24 out of 32 owners to vote him out. We don't know if it's on the agenda yet. Currently, I don't believe it is. But if you guys have not heard the Al Michaels rant from the Thursday Night Football broadcast on Amazon Prime, you have to go listen to it. Look up Al Michaels, Dan Snyder, Thursday Night Football. It'll pop up, and it's about a minute and a half long clip, and it's Al Michaels going on a tear. He lists everything Dan Snyder's done, and they have Dan Snyder on the screen while he's doing this. He lists everything Dan Snyder's done. Al Michaels calls for his job, and he says that everybody in the league would like him to sell the team. They want him out. And all I can say to that, without a doubt, the NFL wanted Al Michaels to say that, and Amazon Prime was the perfect place for him to say that, because if they would have gone to Tony Romo at CBS or anybody at NBC, those types of stations, those networks would have said, no way in hell am I having my broadcaster say that. But on Amazon Prime, they're the new gig in town. They're able to say more things. They're through a streaming service. They're not on that. They're not on TV. You get what I'm saying. Al Michaels tore him apart. And you gotta think something is gonna come of this on Tuesday at the league meetings. But I did hear Ian Rappaport say this past week, he doesn't know if there's 24 owners in this league currently that would vote Dan Snyder out. And everybody has to remember, while there's Roger Goodell up top, he makes $63 million a year. He's top dog. Those 32 owners are what run this league. They are billionaires. You cannot underestimate their power or their influence. They're going to decide what happens with Dan, because Dan is not selling the Washington Commanders. We'll get back to the Commanders in the Thursday night game first, but I just wanted to talk about Dan Snyder. I want to transition before we get to Thursday night football. Quick topic. Everybody's been hating on the Rams. People are doubting Matthew Stafford, his elbow. He's only throwing to Cooper Kupp. He's not throwing to these new receivers he went out and got. They're 2-3 so far. It's only 5 games in the season. Guys, they simply have too much talent in that locker room, on that field, to not make the playoffs, win this division. They have the culture. I've gone on rants before. I think the Rams are possibly one of the best organizations in the entire world. The Los Angeles Rams and the Golden State Warriors run their franchises at a world-class level. That's what everybody should be taking notes from. I think Odell Beckham Jr. will end up. I saw all the news from him this past week. He was sending out tweets essentially saying the Los Angeles Rams lowballed him and he felt disrespected. But Sean McVay assured everyone that was not the case. I think that's just Odell being Odell, to be honest with you guys. That's just what he does. That's who Odell is. But there is too much talent on this field. From Matthew Stafford, Cam Akers, Cooper Kupp. There's just Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner. I haven't even named half of the star guys. The Rams are going to get this figured out. Do not go turn your back. I've said it since day one, and I'm sticking by it to this day. The Rams are my Super Bowl pick. Transitioning to the Bears and Thursday night football against the Commanders. I want to break down this game a little bit since I just tore apart their owner. The Washington Commanders got a dub on Thursday night. The Bears, they continue to struggle. They lost 12-7. Yet again, Justin Fields completed less than 15 passes. This has turned into a major problem for the offense and Bears as a whole. Fields has only completed 63 passes through 6 games. That's 10.3 completions a game. That's just not possible. The offense isn't going to succeed. And it goes back to them living in a black and white world in a digital era. They are still running defense. They need to trade Roquan Smith. Fields is the second highest rusher on the team at 283 yards. Fields was the only person who could get something done on Thursday night. After he would take off for 45 yards, the Bears would go blow it. He needs help. He had the most rushing yards last game. He can only complete 10.3 balls a game. You're having your star franchise quarterback. He is blatantly sitting up on that press conference. He said it this past week. He was like, everybody kept saying it's going to get better. It's going to get better. We're developing. We're getting better. And he's like, I'm tired of that. Justin Fields has been here for years. And he knows he's a talent. We know he's a talent. Explain to me how you don't put talent around him. The Bears, if I ask you to name me the best Bears quarterback and Bears wide receiver ever, you're going to be sitting there going, huh? And it's going to be a sad debate in your head who you got to say. Justin Fields truly has the chance to be the best Bears quarterback they've had. They could make a huge difference. They just need to trade away Roquan Smith, some of their defensive pieces. They need to get out of this defense wins championship mindsets because the league has changed. It was changing the last 2 years. I was saying it. It's changed now. There's like 4 or 5 defensive teams left, and the Bears are one of them, and we see how that's going for them. 63 completions through 6 games, 10.3 a game. Fields has to rush for 283 yards in 6 games. Come on. Last note on this, Thursday Night Football sucks overall. We've had 2 bad games back to back. 12-9, the Denver Broncos versus the Indianapolis Colts, and then now 12-7, the Washington Commanders beating the Chicago Bears. I really hope Thursday Night Football gets a good game in soon. This is what was happening with Monday Night Football for a while. They were kind of just getting shafted on all of the games. You think you're going to have good teams, but guys get injured. Guys are tired. Monday, you're already looking at next week. And then Thursday, guys stop playing. Sunday, it's a quick turnaround. There's not much you can do there. Amazon Prime is getting unlucky, but I've seen the numbers. People are still tuning in, and I'm hopeful that this upcoming week will be better. I'm going to go ahead, get on to the best bets of today, and then get out of here. I've got 4 moneyline games for you guys. Jets at Packers. Packers, they lost last week. I think I picked them against the Giants. Doesn't matter. Bounce back week. We always bounce back. If you go look under Matt LaFleur, anytime the Packers travel and have a loss, we always bounce back. Hammer the Packers. The Panthers at the Rams. The Panthers, they put Steve Wilkes in. They're trying to get a new culture back. They want this, they want that. But guess what? The Rams, they're still going to win the Super Bowl this year, and they're going to start putting their culture back together by using the Carolina Panthers as fresh meat. Hammer the Rams. Broncos at the Chargers. Broncos at this point, I was on them. I was saying Broncos country, let's ride at the beginning of the season. I thought Russell Wilson could do it, but I have lost all faith. They are having an AFC West divisional battle this weekend. They're playing at the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm sorry, it's going to be in Denver, but I got to pick the Chargers. And then the Bucks at the Steelers. I got to take the... You know what? I got to take the Steelers here. I think Kenny Pickett is going to get his first win. The Bucks last week, they only won, I think it was 21-15 against the Atlanta Falcons. They haven't looked great, even at home. Kenny Pickett is going to have a full week of practice as QB1. Hammer the Steelers. Hammer the Chargers, hammer the Rams, and hammer the Packers. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another edition of the Adam Eisen Show. I'll be back very soon to talk to you once Week 6 is done. Until then, peace.